his mother had a separate tefillah that she was saying to be makabel yisurim li'ava.
Yeah. Okay, that's what this is. That's exactly what this is saying. But he's saying, but if you as long as you makabel it, even if you don't end up with the yisurim, you're still gonna get the schar because you were ready to be makabel them.
Whoever said that has not been in a chabura with 2 out of the 5 people are you and Naftali Liner.
What I do now? I'm sitting quietly. What I do? I didn't hear what he said. What do you say?
Okay, I'm a kabel.
Liner,
Okay.
don't take it personally. He has a problem with people named Naftali.
Had a 2 out of the 5 in the chabura, you and Navi.
Yeah, we are yotze the yisurim for Amud.
If you're gonna be a real man, put yourself in there.
You're asking for it, Liner. You're asking for it.
He knows he's not easy.
All right, let's go. So yeah, he hit record. Did he? He hit record. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're on Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. Another Mishna. Yeah, this is a long Mishna. It's not so common that you get a Mishna that lasts a Amud.
We had it in the time already.
Yeah. So Zog the Mishnah. Yeah. Most of this Mishnah, if not all this Mishnah, we had already in different places in the Nedarim. Right. So konam peiros ha'elu alai. If a guy makes a neder or a konam of peiros, these peiros on me, konam hein al pi, or they're not allowed to be into my mouth. Konam hein lifi, or they're not going to go into my mouth. So then, again, basically says these fruits I'm not going to eat them in any one of these 3 ways of how he says it. Assur b'chilufein u'b'gedulein. Then not only is he assur to eat the actual food, but even if he swaps it out, right? He exchanges the apples for oranges. Let's say it's apples that he said he's not eating. So he swaps out the apples for oranges, or he plants the apples and then they grow. All of that is going to be assur, right? Anything that comes out from that fruit is going to be assur. But what if he says shani oichel? He makes a neder of that he's not going to eat this fruit for shani tayim, and he's not going to taste it. Mutter b'chilufein u'b'gedulein. He's mutter. Then he's mutter. If he swaps out the fruit, then it's mutter. And b'gedulein, if it grows, then it's also going to be mutter, right? Why? What's the difference between them? So one is that it seems like the first case he said elu, right? So therefore the elu is going to assur the actual fruit and what comes out from it. But if he says shani oichel, that's going on himself, and therefore, or shani oichel, whichever way you want to do it, is going to only assur that actual fruit and not anything that comes out of it. But there's a what do you call it? What's the word? Like an asterisk, but there's a
Caveat?
Yeah, caveat. Thank you. There you go. The caveat. Yeah, there's a caveat. But dafka bedavar shazara kala. That's only with something where the seeds will be will disappear. But if it's something that the seed will not disappear, then even what grows from it is going to be assur. Meaning, okay, Simon's on, Rachamim, or all those that know from these things. So I'm afraid to open my mouth with this. So a seed, I think, if you take a seed, and a normal vegetable seed, and you plant it, that seed will eventually be gone, right? It becomes whatever. It becomes a tomato. It becomes a pepper, right? Masha'en kain, and we're going to see throughout the Gemara that really it's talking about onions. There's onions, garlic. I don't know about radishes. Those types of things.
They have new seeds.
What?
They make new seeds.
No, but they maintain that original onion stays. It just grows.
Let's say a tomato. Let's
The
say
onions and the potatoes get all the
they're bulbous.
coming out of them. Yeah.
Onions come from seeds. Garlic
here he
comes
goes.
from like the clove, and
the original thing stays.
the original clove stays of the garlic, but not of the onion.
Onions, it doesn't stay.
Onion's a seed.
Onion what?
Onion is a seed.
If you plant an onion, what's going to happen?
It grows.
Does that onion disappear?
Because it's not. It doesn't come from an onion.
Oh, it was my wife leaves the onions in the refrigerator so long they start growing onions in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Yeah, but it grows from seed. It's generally from seed. Garlic comes as a clove.
Okay, so whatever. So that's what it's talking about. It's whichever types of vegetables it is, they stay there. So if the original vegetable stays there, then anything that comes out of it is going to be assur regardless. Meaning, if a guy makes a neder from an onion or a garlic, whichever, and he says he's not eating that onion or garlic, and then he plants it, even the stuff that grows from that is going to be assur because the original onion or garlic or whichever is still in existence. Since it's still in existence, it doesn't lose its status. All right, that's the first case in the Mishnah. There's another case in the Mishnah that's very similar. It's just a little different scenario. A guy tells his wife, "There's a standard. Somebody else in the room." Yeah. Okay, so a guy tells his wife, "Konam ma'isa yadecha alai." He says, "I'm making a neder that I'm not gonna, whatever you do for me, I'm not going to get benefit from. Konam hein alpi, and I'm not going to eat them. Konam hein lifi, or they go or to my mouth. So also same thing. It's also because he said, "Ma'isi yadecha alai," so therefore it's also they're chilufein and gilulein. But if he says shani oichel or she'eni oichel or she'eni tayim, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to taste, then mutter b'chilufein b'gidulein, meaning his wife makes him a cake. He made a neder against the cake, right? So if he said in the first version of it, then he's
Cake is also
the konam. Then even if he takes the cake and changes it in for a donut, it's still going to be assur. But if he uses the second terminology, then if he swaps the cake for a donut, then he'd be able to. And the same thing if he takes it and he grows it, so then it's also going to be mutter. But that's dafka b'davar shizraya kol. That's only with something where the seed is going to survive. Davar she'ein zraya kol. I'm sorry, where the seed is not going to survive. If the seed is not going to be used up, like the radish, the garlic, assur, and then even what grows from there is going to be assur. Right? Same case. Just this one is talking about the wife.
Do we end up in Laskana in the second paragraph that in this case of Ishtay has to be Yadayich Berzayim?
What do you mean?
With the konam, you can't assur on Asidan.
Right.
So it has to be the Yadayim Leperisayim.
Right.
The Isra is the Yadayim.
You mean assur neder? Everything assur neder?
Yeah.
You asked this when we learned it the last time.
Oh, yeah?
I think so. I think you asked that question in the last time. I think. I don't know. Anyways, fine. Then we start with another case which we had before. It says he says to his wife, "Whatever you make, I'm not eating until Pesach." And he says, "Whatever you make," meaning if it's she makes some clothing, I'm not wearing it until Pesach. Also, so if she makes it before Pesach, he can use it after Pesach because he said he's only not using it till Pesach. But then if he says what you make until Pesach, I'm not eating. And what you're making until Pesach, you're not going to. I'm not going to be covered, meaning now he turned it around. He said, whatever you make until Pesach, I'm not going to have. So then if she does it before Pesach, then it's assur for him to eat it or to cover himself with it and after Pesach. Again, the second way is that he says there, anything you make till Pesach, I'm not eating and I'm not using. So if she makes it before Pesach, then it's also la'olam. Fine.
And the word HaPesach is definitive. It means
The
next Pesach.
The
Everything she
Pesach.
makes in the future will be before a Pesach.
That's true. No, it's
has to
the
be
upcoming
Pesach.
Pesach. Yeah, it's going to be
saying
covered
that's-
what the people think, right? gonna
That's
be
just
totally the one from the
semantics.
other.
That's just semantics. How he said it. Why is the Gemara bringing it down? Why is it bringing it down that if you say you're not whatever she makes, I'm not eating. Of course, that's what you're saying. Why does it have to separate between eating till Pesach or whatever you're making till Pesach? It's pretty self-explanatory, no?
What do you mean? Which Pesach? You talking about?
No.
Gershon's
You're saying that if he says I'm not eating till Pesach, then after Pesach, of course, you can eat it. And if he says I'm not eating anything that you make until Pesach, then I can't eat that until forever because it's even after Pesach. He didn't say he's eating it. Whatever I'm saying, but it's just the way he says.
You're saying there's no
neder.
chiddush. You're saying there's no chiddush
There's
here.
no chiddush. Why is he bringing it down? The chiluk between it. It's just semantics of how he said the neder. Why is this? Why is this a chiddush?
It's not a chiddush. It's not. I don't think there's much of a chiddush. What's the chiddush?
So why are they bringing it down?
He just has to say when it's what's the chiddush?
What's the
Usually,
chiddush?
I would say it depends where you put the comma. You can say the same words.
But that's just
Like he just
explaining
said.
how he said the neder. What's?
I'm not going to eat what you make until Pesach.
Correct, but
What's he saying here? Is the Mishnah saying it makes no difference? Because I would say it does make a difference.
Gershon is saying that because we have to put commas in the guy's terminology. That's the chiddush. Where you putting the comma, or where you putting the emphasis, and that's
trying to
totally
say the way you say it is how it's going to be. But that's since
correct.
Daf Beis we said that.
Yeah. All
I'm
right.
saying the opposite.
Well,
You can say the same words, but put the stress in a different place.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what he's saying.
It doesn't work. It doesn't matter.
That's why he's trying. That's what they're trying to say. You could say the same words, but how you're stressing it. All right, so you're saying okay.
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Next case is Sha'at Nen, the second line up from the bottom. Sha'at Nenes li Ada Pesach. He says that I'm making a neder that you're not going to get hana from me until Pesach. Im haleches at lebeis avich ad hachag. If you go to your father's house from now until sukkos, then you're not allowed to benefit from me until Pesach. This guy's already a bigger London, right? All right. So again,
You love this.
It's nice.
Again, he's saying that his wife cannot benefit from him until Pesach. Let's say it's right now, Hanukkah. Right? He gets fed up with his shver on Hanukkah, and he tells his wife, if you go from now till Sukkot to your father, then you're not allowed to benefit from me till this Pesach. All right? So Holchel of Nea Pesach. So now if she goes before Pesach, then we know it's very clear. Assur bahana. Pesach. She's also bahana till Pesach. He said, as long as you go to your father from now till Sukkot, you're not allowed to benefit from me till Pesach. Okay, so she's not going till, so she can't, she went to her father, so she can't benefit from her husband till Pesach. La'achar ha-Pesach, on top of the base now. La'achar ha-Pesach, what?
So you said you can't go to Chag.
No, but she already went before Pesach. To her
Okay,
father.
fine.
So she can't benefit from her husband till Pesach, right? La'achar ha-Pesach, but if she goes after, meaning there's some missing from the words here. If she benefited from her husband before Pesach, right? Assuming that she wasn't going to go to her father.
What's Chag? Chag is sukkos, right?
Chag is Sukkos time.
So where are we?
The first Pesach before Sukkos.
So we're before Pesach.
Right,
It
we're in
says if you go
Hanukkah
from your
now.
father until
Sukkos.
Sukkot, then you can't benefit me until the next Pesach?
No, this Pesach.
This Pesach.
Yeah.
And she went before Pesach, she can't have on until Pesach.
Correct.
When she goes after Pesach, it's too late. She can.
No. Now that's what's saying. La'achar Pesach. So if you look in the Rashi, the Mephirash says means she benefited from her husband. Now, right tonight, Hanukkah, the husband says, if you go to your father from now till Sukkot, you're not benefiting from Pesach. She says, okay, I'm not going. So she benefits from her husband, right? And then she went.
So
What?
what happens?
No,
Was
so
nene
she was nene from her husband until before Pesach, right? Now
Right.
she's nene. Now, after Pesach, she cannot go to her father. If she does, Limafreya, she was over on the Issa. Meaning now that
who made the assur?
the husband.
He said what? You can't go to your father.
He says you can't go to your father, and if you do go to your father, you cannot benefit from me from now.
Right. So she
till this
benefited
Pesach.
from she ate his shmura matzah, and
Correct.
then she
Then
went
he's
to
over.
then she went to her parents in December, and she benefited from her father. She had a barbecue by her father.
Right.
Yeah. So now what happens?
She's over on the assur of Baal
What is
Yaakov,
what is the she over?
that she went against the neder. What?
He made the neder. She didn't make a neder.
Well, so that's the question. How could he? She didn't make a neder, right? He made the neder. She didn't do anything, right? So that's yeah. That was a machlokes. What daf was this before? I don't remember.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
So we said a machlokes. Who's over on the Israel? There was a big round on this. Can somebody make a neder for somebody else to be over on it? Right. So that was a machlokes. Yeah, I'm with you, Rabban. I can't understand how I can make a neder that you should be over on it.
I mentioned this the other day. It's hard for us to understand in Western thinking, but in terms of the Torah, this is what's called bilas. I had a discussion with a fellow up here that that we have bilas over an object. We think in our Western way of thinking, our ownership of that stops on that object. I can burn it, I can throw it, I can mafkir it. But the Torah's concept of bilas is I can assur it onto you. And
right,
it
but
goes further. I can assur something on my wife. The same way I have bilas over my daughter when she's Nara. I have a chiddush and bilas over. I can marry her off even if she doesn't want to be married.
Yeah, but the question is to make them over on a assur.
Sounds like from here, yes, even on your wife.
Yes, that's one way of understanding it. That's one way of understanding
otherwise, if it was on me, she would go over there, and she would go ahead and get to the barbecue by the shver, and I would be over.
Well, that's according to the way the Gemara sounds. That's the pasha. The reading of our Gemara is that yes, you can make a neder on somebody. That person will be over on a neder, even though they didn't make a neder on anything. This wife was trying to be a good wife, and then she had her husband who makes this neder on her, and now she's stuck in jail. She can't go to her father till sukkos.
So she goes to the father, and the husband gets the patch.
Well, that's the machlokes. Well, he should. He made the neder. And if you go with that, he's the one that made the neder, right? Okay, but that's what it says.
Isn't that what Ron said earlier? That's what it's in this Mishna.
That's how long ago was it on Tesla?
Kind of is Russian hektish.
Right.
If I make something hektish, you can be anyone can be
right.
If I make a neder, you can't come to my house.
Uh-huh.
And you come into my house. Who's over the neder?
That's a machlokes. Whether that's
We've had this a bunch of
I
times.
made such a neder with you a long time ago in your ivory.
He wouldn't care. It's worth it for him to be over.
Right, clearly.
It's his mother's house.
Oh, very good. Now the Knates, look at him.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, okay, so that's that case. And the next case is sort of the opposite. He says to his wife, Sha'at nenes li ad hachag, he says, you're not allowed to get hana from me until sukkos im halechtes at lebeis avich ad pesach. If you go to your father's house till Pesach, meaning she's not allowed to go to her father's house till Pesach. If she does, she can't benefit from her husband until sukkos. So now holcha lefnei Pesach. So if she went before Pesach, assur b'hanase ad hachag. She's assur b'hana until after the sukkos. There's no chiddush there. Right? Again, he told her, if you go from now till Pesach to your father, you're not allowed to benefit from me until sukkos. So she went before Pesach to her father. She can't benefit from her husband until sukkos. Umuteres leilech achar Pesach. Right? But she is mutter to go to her father's house after Pesach. Right? So what's the chiddush there? Why can't she? She was only told by her husband not to go to her father's house till Pesach. She went before Pesach, so why can't she continue? Chiddush is that it's maybe we tell her not to go to her father's house because she needs a reminder that she's not allowed to benefit from her husband. Right? So that's what the Ran says way back on Tesvav. That the chiddush is that we still let her continue going to her father's house, but she's not allowed to benefit from her husband. Right? Okay, now we really get involved with the for the next till the end of the parak. I think it's 2.5 block of what do you call it? Gardening, not gardening. Is it better? What do you call it?
Horticulture.
Horticulture is vegetables, growing vegetables. Yeah.
Growing things from the ground.
All right, whatever. Gardening. I thought, but it's okay. We're becoming farmers. How's that? Okay. Yeah.
Agriculturists.
Yeah. So I'm really fine. That's not what the Gemara is going on. This Gemara is going on the next part that says that the chilufein are going to be assur if the chilufein are always going to be assur if the original seed survives. So he said like a garlic clove. You plant the garlic clove, so the original garlic clove stays there, and then it grows from there. So if that's the case, then if the guy made a neder against that garlic clove is going to be assur forever, right? Because that original garlic clove is there. So now Yishmael ish Kfar Yama. So Yishmael, who was from Kfar Yama,
stays, then the chilufein
is assur. It's not chilufein, gidulein, whatever grows after that. It's going to be assur forever.
And if it's a seed,
if it's a seed that disappears, then the gidulein is going to be mutter, right? So Yishmael ish Kfar Yama, va'amrila ish Kfar Diyama. Now, Rabbar, in this one, I thought it was
Dima.
Right? No, hella biyadi. This you can't tell me. I'm sorry to say, all cynicism. You can't tell me that either is a sense of humor with this Gemara or it's Stam trying to get hella biyadi. Right? You're talking about a guy taking a thing out of the ground and replanting it, right? So you think, okay, hella biyadi. He took it in his hand. He took this onion. That's not what it means. Hella biyada means it went into his hand, a question that to ask.
Oh,
so that,
Allah,
right, really?
Allah biyadai.
Yeah, really? You had to use that lashon? You can't tell me that this is not the I don't know, Chazal trying to make it more difficult for us to give us more schar. How's that for a positive spin? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Right, so hella biyade, it went up in his hand, meaning this shaila, and now it's a shaila because it's going to keep the Gemara busy for 2 blocks. The shaila, yeah. So what's the shaila? Batzel sha'akru b'shviyah. So you have an onion that was uprooted during Shemitah, right? So that means it has kedusha shviyas, right? It grew by itself during Shemitah. Now he picked up the onion.
Tyson says he bought the actual onion.
Yeah. So what do you mean? Taisvis. 1 second. I'm looking at the Taisvis. Yeah, but I don't know if Taisvis. I don't know what Taisvis means by that. Right? You think Taisvis means there that the hella biyade doesn't mean?
He says.
He says shegadol b'shviyas va'akru b'shviyas v'yeshli did pay shviyas then he'd be here. Okay, I don't know if that's different than the way the Ran says it, or the Mefarish says it. Mm-hmm. See, the way the Ran and the Ray and Ran and Rashi says is hella sheila zu bepiv, right? So okay, whatever it is, right. But that was an interesting choice of words that the Gemara used. So either way, but he said betzal sheikra b'shviyas. An onion that a guy uprooted during Shemitah, but not to b'shmitas, and then he went and took this onion, which had a kedusha shvius, and he planted it in the 8th year. 8th day is a concert tonight at North Woodway Park, in case anybody wants to know. Okay, no, so it wasn't the 8th day; it was the 8th year. Yes. So again, he uprooted an onion in the 7th year, and he planted in the 8th year. So the shaila is now: does that onion have kedushas shvius or not? But Rabbi Gidulav al Ikroi, and that onion kept growing, and now the question is this considered Shemitah or is it considered from the 8th year? And this was his shayla. Gidulav heter ve'ikroi assur. The new growth is from heter because it's from the 8th year, but the ikr of the onion is still there, which had kedusha shvius. Kivan the Rabbi Gidulav me'ikaroi, since it grew from the ikar of the onion. Right? The new growth, myelin as a iser, makes the Isser bottle. Meaning, let's say it grows and it keeps growing. So that's going to be Mavatal, the Isser. And then so therefore this thing no longer has Kedusha Shvius. Or do we say no? Right? Maybe we say sort of like what our Mishna is inferring, that when the Iker thing stays there, it's not going to be bottle.
Why should I think that the because it's more the Iker, it takes away from the Sharish?
What do you mean? The question is a shaila of bittul.
Why should we move out to the Sharish?
Because one onion, he's
Right,
now you have an onion that, let's say, was the size of
right.
Either bit. That's a shiloh. What's the bittul here? Roiv, shishim, meya.
That's what I'm asking.
Well, not meya. It's not shmita. It's not shmita. What? Pashas says it should be bittul b'roiv. Right?
Bittul b'roiv.
Let's go with that. Yeah. Right? He had an onion that was the size of an ounce. Now it grew to 3 ounces. So now that onion, we should look at the whole onion as one big onion, and now it's bottled.
And what's the other side? What's the other side? More
it's sprouted.
Yeah.
But what?
What's the first side?
That is the first side.
No, do we say that since the root is assur, right? Since the root is assur, so then the rest of it should be assur?
Correct.
Or do we say that roiv is mavatul the first part?
Well, there's two ways to approach the Shiloh Gemara. Is the Shiloh on the new growth or just on the old growth? That's really, there's 2 mahalchim.
Is that the Shiloh?
There's 2 different mahalchim and how to look at the Shiloh. Meaning, one mahalach is that the new growth is for sure mutter. That's not a question. The question is it mavatul the old growth?
Okay.
Right. The other Shiloh is no. Do we look at the whole thing like it's one big entity, and that's
so
it?
Then it would be asla ilam va'ed because every onion is an outgrowth from the original onion, right?
Correct. And a konam. So if you had an onion from
so that means if you had an onion that was
onion hakadmoy, yes.
So that means if the onion akadman was no good, so that means 4 onions later when you think is also no good.
Yeah, 100%.
So whatever came from that onion is no good.
No, you have a mamzer, right?
So you're comparing this original thing to a mamzer? What are you doing?
What I tell you? Well, why not?
Because it's not a psul. Because the mamzer is a psul in the hefzer. This is not a.
So this is you take an onion of shmita. It has kedusha shvius. What grows from it is looked at as a outgrowth, no pun intended, of a shmita.
So it's going to be the oil void from whatever came from this onion. That
no mitzvah with this onion. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about 3 onions later.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Does that make sense?
That's one of the. Okay. I don't see why not. I think that's one of the studies of the Gemara.
How do you understand Gidulim Khilafan until now? That's what it means. The Gidulim are always assur.
Right. Anything that grows out from.
Only from that one.
And Gidulin, we had that on in the Mishna.
Yeah, anything that grows out from it. If the guy, depending on what his terminology is, it can assur anything that comes out. Anyway, so that's the shiloh. Yes, so then we have the shiloh. You have this onion, and it grew things out of it. Is there possible for the new growth to be mavatal the original onion or not? So that was what's the name? Yishmol Ish Kfar Yama or Ish Kfar Di Yama. That was the shiloh. So also look at the Rav Ami. He came in front of Rav Ami. Rav Ami did not know the answer to this question. Fine. Also look at the Rav Yitzchok Nafcha. He came in front of Rav Yitzchok Nafcha. Pashalei. And he said pshat from this, the Amar of Chanina, Trisa, Chisa said, Amar Rabbi Yana, he said in the name of Rabbi Yana, and we have to know this Rabbi Yana well because it's going to occupy us for the next 2 blocks. Yeah. Botzel shel truma. If you have an onion from truma, shenatu, that you took it and you planted it, v'rabu gidulav al ikroi, and then the onion grew. So you took an onion of truma, which means it belongs to the kohen. Yisrael cannot eat it. And then that kohen took that onion of truma and he planted it. Right? And then it grew on top of that. He says, mutter. The whole onion becomes mutter, right? Meaning it was truma, he planted it, it grew from there. It's no longer truma, even a Yisrael could have it.
So this is you have to learn that he already gave it to a Cohen. So it had a shas heter, but before he gave it to the Cohen, it didn't have a shas heter at all. So that could be a nafkamina because once it has a shas heter, then the gedulav could become mutter. But if it never had a shas heter,
you're getting scared that we ain't going to give you the truma. We'll give you the truma. Don't worry.
I'm scared whether I'm going to plant it or not.
I know. I hear your point, right? The fire, you have to give it to the kohen first, right?
For what?
What?
For what?
You can't. I can't separate my onions and then plant it.
Right, it's already truma as soon as you separate it.
I know, but then I didn't give it to the kohen yet.
Right.
So is that
It's still truma.
It's truma, but I'm allowed to do this.
No, I'm allowed to learn something.
Well, is that called vatadis?
Rock, if you planted the truma onion on top of a goat,
yeah,
that's still considered planted.
Yeah.
My wife's listening.
But an important point to know is that midrabanan the growth is also, even according to this shita. Right? We pascha like this, right? But midrabanan they assur it I think because what Rachamim is saying. That's why they assur it, because then all this Yisraelim are going to be smart guys, and they're just going to plant all their truma, and that's going to be the end of that for the kohanim.
So that's a b'marim b'david. That's a b'marim b'david. Yeah.
Anyway, so what? I don't know. I hear maybe it is, but so what? Man? Maybe. Anyway, so you see, clear from this Gemara that the new growth is going to be mevatel the old growth. So lachara that answers Yishmael's shaila. Some of the Yirmi of Item of Zreika, Shavik Mar trained Va'avid Kechad. You're leaving 2 Amerayim and you're doing like one, you're doing like a Das Yachid. I'm going to bring you 2 cases where they assur it. What? So man who trained, who are the 2 that say that it's not going to be Vatal? Damar Abavo, Amr Yochanan, Yalda, Shesibcha Bezakena. If you have a Yalda is a it literally means a girl, a young girl, but it means a young tree. Right? Orla, it's the first 3 years of its growth. And it grew. Shesibka b'sakena. How do you say sibka? You grafted it. You grafted it on an older tree. Meaning now this young tree is an Orla tree. So you're not allowed to benefit from it. But now you went and you grafted it onto an older tree. Uba peris. And there was peris on the tree, on the Orla tree. So Avabisha Sifa Masayim assur, even if it added on 200 more times growth than what the original Arla tree was, it's still assur. So what do you see? You see Ferish, that's not a way to scam the system with Arla. Because otherwise you could scam the system with Arla. You could take an Arla tree, it started growing fruit, which I think they don't grow fruit. Racham, you think you said this last week, right? Arla trees for the most part don't grow fruit. But let's say theoretically you had an Arla tree that grew fruit. Then you can say, then what you do is go graft it onto an older tree, and then it grows 200 times more, and then you would think it's okay. So he's saying, no, it's not okay. So you see, even when the fruit grows more, it's not going to be mevatel. So
is sifcha mutters and sifcha assur by itself?
It could be the same. It could be the same type of tree. Then it's not a problem, right?
So he took an Orla
apple tree and he grafted it on a
piece of an Orla and he put it on an old tree. Right?
Yeah, of the same mint, yeah. Right? So then that's going to be assur. So you see that the new growth of the tree is still assur. Fine. Now, and what's the second case? Yeah.
And the ikr is still assur. Oh no, the ikr is assur, and the gedulav is
and
assur.
the new growth
is also assur.
And then the next case, Amar Rav Shua bar Rav Chmeini, Amar Rav Yonasan, Batzel shenat kerem. I don't know why anybody would do this. Talk about you want a sharp line, right? A guy planted onions in a vineyard, which is klayim, ekar hakerem, and then he uprooted. They uprooted the kerem, meaning the grapevines, right? And then the onion stayed there, and the onion stayed there and continued growing. So the onion was assur, out klayim. Then they removed the grapevine, and then the onion continued growing. It's still assur. So you see, even though it was new growth, according to both of these Amoraim, even though there was new growth, we don't say that the new growth is mavatal, the original growth. So therefore, so they slugged up. He didn't slug him up, but so who was it? So Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha had said, well, like a das yachid, and Rabbi Yirmiyah told him, well, there's a majority that says not like you. Fine. So Had also came to Rav Ami. So then he came back to Rav Ami. Upashitle and Minada. Now he said, no, I'll give you a proof from a different case. Damar Rav Yitzchak, Damar Rav Yochanan, litra. I think that's where liter comes from, right? It's a measurement.
Yeah.
Right, litra betzalim shetikna. If you have a liter of, let's call it a liter of onions that you were masakin, I mean, you gave off chumas and maisis, right? So you had, let's say, 10 onions, and you gave your one onion to the Levi, and then he gave it to the Kohen, and then you gave some to the Kohen. You did the whole thing, fine.
I see you're already cheating out the Kohen by giving Levi first. You're supposed to give the Truma first, then you give the Levi.
Yes, that's true, but I'm going with the way out. I'm going with the cheating way, right? You, Rahman. So litra betzalim shetikna, right? You took a liter of betzalim and you fixed it up, then vizara, and then you planted it. Misaseres. I'm sorry, you want to become a rich. Misaseres lafi kula. You have to give when this thing grows, right? Again, he took off all the trumas and maises. Now he takes those things that he took off trumas and maises for and plants it. Now it grows more. So now he has to give meiser on which part? On the entire thing or just the new growth? So misaseres lefi kula, he has to give meiser according to the entire thing, including the original vegetable that he had planted, which had meiser taken off already. He shouldn't have to do that. Alma oisen gedulin mevatel nicker. So you see that the gedulin is mevatelit, right? It was mevatelit, and now it's considered a total new entity, and it's and then he has to give new meiser. Let's go with a more practical example of this. You make $1,000.
Does the Levi have to give it back?
You make $1,000 cash. What?
Does the Levi have to give back that he took from the Iker? Does the Levi? I mean, he said it was misasa before, right? So it was. So do they have to give it back now? Since now you're taking meisers halakol, so now the new meisers is going on what you had before. So it was like mevatel the meisers that you already took. Give it back.
No, it's not going to do that. No, it's not going to do that. There's a new entity that you have to take the chumas and maises off.
Okay.
Right. Basically, the example will be a very, very straightforward example, and it comes up a lot. Anybody that's calculating meiser, you made $1,000, right? You give $100 to meiser, right? Now you take that $900 and you made another $1,000 on it. How much meiser are you giving? You don't have to give on 900. You only give on the new 1,000 that you made.
But didn't it say just the $100 that he gave Meiser to plant this?
What? No. He can't. That he has to give to the Kohen and the Levi.
Oh, he took the regular stuff that he was allowed to take.
Yeah.
So then you just give Meiser what you made.
Correct, but that's not what this is saying. This is saying no. You have to give Meiser even on the original, right? Why? Because it's a total new entity. Again, this wouldn't apply to money. Right? Money, it's new money that you made. Meaning, again, you had $1,000 cash. You gave Meiser of $100. So now you have $900 to play with whatever you want. You invest that $900, you make another $1,000. So now you have $1,900 in the bank. Do you have to give 190, or do you have to just Meiser? You give 100. So it's pashut that you only have to give 100 because the 900 you already gave Meiser from, right? But in this vegetable case, we're saying it doesn't work like that. You took off your chumas and meisers, and now you have 10 onions. You took off one onion, yeah, and you gave it away to the Kayan, to the Levi, whatever it is, you have 9 other onions, right? Fine. Now you take that onion and you plant it. From those 9 onions you planted, and it grows into 90 onions, right? So really, you should only take off Meiser on 90 onions, not on 99. But this Gemara is saying, no, you need to take off Meiser on 99. Why? Because the new growth is mavatal. It takes that old onion and it makes it into a new entity. So you see that anything new that grows makes the whole thing into a new entity. And that would answer Yishmael's question, right? And therefore it should be mavatalit. If you take Shemitah and you plant it in the 8th year and then it grows, it should be mavatalit. So we have a good raya. The Gemara says, no, Dilma l'chumra shani. The Gemara says, maybe l'chumra, right? The classic, right? We always, l'chumra, we're going to say things. L'kula, we're not going to say it. So l'chumra, to make you have to give extra meiser, then we'll say that the growth is considered a new entity. But l'kula, to say that something has kedusha shvius and it no longer has kedusha shvius because it grew, that we're not going to say. We're only going to say it l'chumra. So therefore, we still have no raya to the answer to prove that the new growth is mavatal the old growth. Okay, and we're going to continue trying to bring rayas to this for the next blot and a half. And yeah, all right. Have yourselves a fine night and a lichtig in Chanukah and a freilich in Chanukah.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Rebben is on. Okay, very nice. Yeah.
Yaakov, I think there's a special din on Kilayim Karen. That if you just did Stam Kilayim, then it wouldn't be. I don't think you'd have to have the same issue. But by Kilayim Karen, because you have the issues with grapes and stuff like that. That's why there's so machmir on it there.
What do you mean?
When you give the onions in the vineyard, if you just did stam of onions and you mix stam of kilayim with I don't know, lettuce or trees or whatever other plants there are, that would be one thing. I would wonder if they would be some machmir. But by kilayim karen, you have to deal with special laws of just having it a karen.
You can't even maintain it. You're saying you can't even maintain it.
Yeah.
Right. I hear that. Right, but they were talking about where they uprooted the grapevine. They uprooted the grapevine.
Yeah, but a karen. But once you designated a karen, you can't even They even have issues with doing cut through the karen.
Right.
Like pathways and stuff like that.
Correct. Yeah.
What's interesting is the issur of clay b'kerem, the climb stays with the onion, even though you took away the kerem. That's kind of an interesting thing. The onion might have not. Did the onion actually be yoinik from it or not? Or
Mastama had to. Yeah, I was
just even if it didn't, because the kayim is by itself an issur. So the issur of kayim, that the fact that they're there together, is chal on that onions, and even if you took away the grapes, you still got an issur of betzel from that.
It had to. Yeah, I think it goes without saying that it had to have grown a little bit. It had to grow whatever the shear is. I don't remember what the shear is from client, but it had to have grown a little bit in order to be assur. That's what I'm assuming.
If it's kayim, is also assur.
I think the Mishna says if you plant something and it takes even a little bit, you can't even you have to even throw it in the street. It has to get trampled. You can't even get enough of it. So I think it's even more machmir by Karen.
You see from Shkolim, the issur was so great.
He's saying more than truma or more than what?
What do you mean? They threw everything out into the streets.
Oh, that was
by Shkolim, by Shkolim, but that was a gzera though. It was a chumrah because the guys were pulling shtick.
Yeah.
So much.
Is it wrong, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
All right.
My wife.
Fine.
Hanukkah. Let's look at Hanukkah.
To you too.
Zev, nice to see you,
Zev.
Zev.
It's good to have you on. Pre the dinner, Zev. You're on. Pretty good.
This is how he finishes his
Hanukkah. You can't go
Shas.
around. Nobody's home. Nobody's home for the next. Everybody's away.
Hanukkah, no. Hanukkah, I'm a